We are back with part 7 of the lawnmower build series. After quite a delay, had to go back and watch the old video to see what I even talked about, which was on June 20th, 2020. So this is what I ended up with for pretty much the finished mower. Still needs some fine-tuning, of course. Needs some paint, needs some more adjustments, desperately needs a new motor, needs all sorts of stuff, but I'll show you what I got going on. This is the BP I ran this year. Let's take a look back there. Here's the car. That's not done, but it actually did go on the road a couple times, just more or less test driving. But yeah, didn't have time for that either, so it's not just the mowers that are getting kicked to the curb. Here's the other mowers. What is this? This is another BP, and then this was what we ran as a GP. The old SP still here, the tired old AP. And I got another mower that's at someone else's house, but that's another story. So let's get under the hood of this thing and see what's going on. We'll start out with the engine on my BP. This thing was a junkyard motor, owed me nothing, pretty much got me through the whole year. Had a couple small issues with it, and then I don't know what happened in the last race. It just really didn't want to run well, but that's all right. So the only aftermarket things on this were the ARC flywheel mandated by rules, and then an EC carburetor, which probably with the adapter and whatnot for the air filter probably wasn't too much of an advantage. It's just what I had kicking around. But yeah, I got this thing at the scrapyard. It had someone already robbed the intake manifold. This thing was bad. It was real bad. The valves were even seized up in the head a little bit. I had to tap them to get them out. Just gave them a quick little lapping. It actually ran pretty darn good, even at a big track in New Hampshire. I turned a lot of RPMs. The thing owed me nothing. You can see the sick exhaust here. And let's take a look at how some of the parts were when I got it from the scrapyard. So real quick, this is what the cam was when I got it from the scrapyard. Thing was broken like this. What happened was the thing sucked in a push rod, which I actually bent one later on in the year. Not sure how, probably floating the valves and just too much shock on the stock push rods. But what this thing did was it ate the push rod and it got between the gear on the crankshaft and the cam gear, and this one lost, of course. And then look at this thing. They put this in as their push rod after. I mean, you can go online and buy push rods for like a couple dollars, but they put this piece of aluminum in there. I don't even know what this was. It probably never ran, or it ran until that thing happened. I got some other failed parts here, but we'll get to them later. So I'm going to go ahead and take the fender off, show you guys what I had underneath. I took notes, a couple notes of what I never talked about, most of which were the electronics, fuel system, that's all pretty basic. But I want to go over what I did for the electronics and the chain tensioner. Before I take the fender off, I just want to share a couple things. Made up these little braces to help keep us in the seat, of course. Worked pretty good, no padding or anything. A little padding might help. And then just these pieces of aluminum angle iron here just to help keep your feet on the running boards. I still have to do the deck halves. They let me skate for this year, but I'll have to do the deck halves next year. And when I do the deck halves, I might incorporate a better foothold into it. But anyways, I got my bolts off. Basically your brake pedal assembly, bolts up there, another bolt on that side in the factory location. And then just one more, hopefully it's not too dark, just one more bolt hole under there, and fender comes right off. So I'll go ahead and take this off now and show you guys what we got going on underneath. All right, we're underneath the fender now. A little bit of behind the scenes here, what we got going on. You guys have pretty much seen all this, aside from this chain tensioner down here. That's really the only fabricating I did. The only fabrication I left out of this whole process. It was kind of last minute. I'm not too happy with it. It's not too well thought out or engineered. But this is just the EC distributing, EC carburetors I guess they are now. EC carburetors, chain tensioner, just a piece of aluminum, nothing too fancy. It slides back and forth. And what I got here is these bolts, or I believe they're 5/16 bolts. They're just welded to this this crossbar I put on here. Just welded that thing in place and then welded the bolts onto it. So that's it. I just loosen up the nuts that are on top of those bolts. Loosen them up, slide that thing back and forth. I get enough adjustment. This is one of the bigger gears, bigger sprockets I run on the back here. I don't know the exact amount of teeth. It's 48. 48 tooth, and you can see it's pretty darn close. I think I can go up to about a 50 though. So it gives me the range of adjustment I need to deal with it. You know, it's not like I'm in one of those odd areas that I don't have enough adjustment with my chain tensioner between like a full link, half link, all that stuff. So works out pretty good actually. So shout out is owed to whoever, I forget it was, maybe it was a couple people years ago on one of the transmission videos I did, was telling me how you can't run the steel bushings in these things because they come with the steel and a bronze. The cheap eBay Amazon ones, I forget which is which. I think the steel bushing is actually on the output shaft. Anyways, you can't run them. The people who told me you can't run them are right. It'll heat up, it'll pretty much attach itself to the shaft, spin around, wreck your case, just create a bunch of damage. So other than that, we did good, but you got to get the bronze bushings. You can't run the steel ones. And also, as you can see, our last race was like at an absolute mud fest. Stuff all over the place. But let me get into a couple other things in the electronics next. So for the electronics, I got these things on I think it was Amazon. They're a little bit, you know, riced out, racing use only, carbon fiber sticker, all that stuff, but it works pretty well. So they come with 2 auxiliary switches, or accessory switches. I'm not even using this one, but I left it on there just in case I had an issue with the push button, or this one engages the solenoid for the starter, so we're not spinning the gear right up into the flywheel. But so yeah, I'm only using these first 2 switches. Drilled the hole out a little bit bigger than it came with factory, and put in the tethered kill switch. Kept this thing in place just in case you know, one of these fails. I'll just jump my wires back over. But let me show you what we got going on underneath. Everything is, I hope it's showing up, everything is color coded and soldered, so nothing's gonna come apart. You know, it's always a pain when you get those loose wires. That's when you get the real gremlin action going. It works sometimes, doesn't work others. So plus the color coded too helps you keep everything a little bit more organized. And there we are, zoom right in. You can see the shrink wrap on the soldered stake-on connectors. Yeah, just use one of these soldering irons. So big thanks to my girlfriend Lily. She helped me do all the soldering on those. She'd never done it before, but once she got going, she was good at it. So that's pretty much the wiring. It's, again, these mowers aren't really a finished product yet. You know, stuff's kind of loose. Eventually I'm going to put all of it in you know, in shielding and support stuff better. Everything's a little bit, I mean, this is pretty inexcusable, you know, but it was just to get me through the year. You can see all sorts of issues on these. So an overall view of these mowers, like reviewing them after the full season, is pretty good, pretty successful. Had a lot of issues, small issues with engines and stuff. They ran good, they handled well, they handled really good at our tracks. I don't know how well they would handle at a like hard, well manicured clay track. I don't think they would transfer the weight very well. They're not very stiff. They have quite a bit of flex in them. I don't know if it's the walk through the design, you know, where the other Craftsman I have has this frame part come up much higher, has the full tunnel in it. I don't know if that's the issue, if they're just thinner metal. Maybe I didn't put quite enough reinforcement, but it ran good on our tracks, so I actually didn't even mess with it. As far as wedge and stuff, there's no more weight on the left front than the right front. You know, the left front has a little more caster, so when I turn the wheel, it does transfer some more weight. But yeah, it's pretty much a pretty even chassis. I mean, this thing honestly could turn right darn near as well as it could turn left. So now let's get into some of the issues we had. Oops, I don't think I got the focus enough. What happened was this spindle sheared right off. This is the left front. Wasn't even a bad hit. I'm having a hard time zooming in with my camera today and getting it to focus, but the top of it is shiny there, which some of you metal guys might know. I think that might mean there was a crack there already. But yeah, it didn't like break on the weld or anything. The weld's actually in good shape, considering, let's see. Yeah, you can see it. I mean, the weld is whatever, but it didn't break right on the weld. It wasn't a weld failure. It actually just snapped the metal right off. There's that sheen I'm talking about right in there. You can see it. And then it's a little bit of sheen on the top of this piece too. Let's see if I can get the shot. Yeah, a little bit of sheen there. So I don't know if that's where the crack started to form or not. But anyways, yeah, that thing came off. Wheel went flying. It was actually pretty cool, but ended my race. And then these pulleys were a little bit of a disappointment, to be honest. You know, you can see it's supposed to be a consistent taper, and you can just see where the belt just wore itself right in there. It's only aluminum, but I would expect that it sort of held up better than that. So when I changed the new belt, I put a new belt on, you know, a couple races in, it just wouldn't grab on this thing. And seeing where that ridge is, it makes sense. Just the belt didn't have any surface. You know, the taper belt needs to fit right in there to really engage. I'm going to go ahead and attribute that. As you guys can see, how much dirt and stuff is on the mowers from the tracks we race at. I'm going to go ahead and attribute it to just the dirt getting in there and wearing that thing out prematurely. I'm pretty sure if you were on a hard clay track, that wouldn't have happened. So, you know, it might be a little bit of where we're racing, but I switched to some cheap stamped steel ones, and so far so good. Another thing is wiped out a starter. Accidentally, I had this switch engaged still. Oops, engaged still. The shield is supposed to click it down all the way, but I don't know. I might not have released it hard enough. And that was still engaged. Revved up the motor, wiped out the starter. And that ended my day because I didn't realize that the starter was bad until I had to try to start it for the feature. So those are a couple little issues that are documented here on the table in front of us. I'd call the mowers a success. Was able to get second in points with the BP, which is pretty good. I mean, there was like four of us that were really battling. The other two guys, the guy who got first and the guy who got third, couldn't even make it to all the races. They each missed one, but I had like one DNF or two DNF, so kind of equaled out. But yeah, we're looking for a good year next year. Planning on probably doing some motors for the BPs. Not sure what the plan is for the SP. It needs a new engine too. I'm just not sure. I don't really want to do like a new one from scratch. So I might freshen this one up, or I might try to pick up the one from my buddy Paul, who raced a couple of years ago. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't even talked to him yet about it. And then yeah, the BPs, I definitely want to do a mild build. I'll call it a mild build. Not chasing big power. It's not really necessary for my level of racing. I'll take the reliability, something that runs good and strong, but you know, nothing that I need to turn a ton of RPMs and get that crazy power out of. The old BP, the old GP's under here, with that big single Kohler. Thing ran alright. Once we got it governed, you know, because it's a governed motor. Oh, there's like a hood under the hood. Once we got it running pretty good at the higher RPMs, thing came alive a little bit. So that's it for this video. Sorry it took so long to come out, but you know, that's how it goes. So we'll be resuming these lawnmower ones periodically. Got the engine build coming up. Got to paint them and stuff. Probably won't show painting them, but you know, I'll do like, I don't know, an unveil thing when they're all done or whatever. Got the car too. Might do a video or two on that, but you know, I'm not an expert in anything with these cars, so you know, why watch me struggle to paint it or struggle to put stuff together? You know, all the information's out there, and I'm definitely not the guy to get any information on car stuff from. But I'll probably do one when it's like done or whatever. So thank you guys for watching. Catch you next time. Jantic Journal.